Most people buy a Tesla based on range, speed, or monthly payment. But long-term ownership usually comes down to something far less exciting. Certain Tesla model years quietly stay reliable, well past 100,000 miles, while others become expensive the moment warranty coverage disappears. That is not random. The difference is often hidden inside the production year, hardware revisions, and how mature the platform actually was when Tesla built it. And one of the safest long-term Teslas right now is probably not the model most buyers expect. Worst number 3. 2013-2015 Model S. Avoid the early Model S cars unless there is proof the major components were already replaced. A cheap purchase price on a 2013 to 2015 Model S can look attractive today, but long-term ownership becomes much harder once the original hardware starts aging out. Here is what most buyers miss. These were Tesla's first large-scale production sedans, and several systems were still immature. Early drive units developed bearing and coolant seal problems, while the original first-generation media control unit touchscreen system used a memory chip that slowly wears down from constant data writing in the background. That issue became widespread enough that Tesla eventually issued an official recall related to the failing memory system. That matters because the screen controls climate settings, navigation, charging controls, and many daily vehicle functions. Once the system slows down, the ownership experience changes quickly. Add aging air suspension components, retractable door handles, and expensive post-warranty labor costs, and these early Model S cars quietly become high-maintenance luxury electric vehicles over time. And the next Tesla proves that newer hardware does not always guarantee safer long-term ownership. Worst number 2. 2021 Model S. Skip the first year of the major Model S refresh if long-term stability matters more to you than new features. The 2021 Model S Plaid introduced huge performance upgrades and a redesigned interior, but it also arrived during a major transition period for Tesla's hardware and controls. First-year redesigns usually bring more production inconsistency. Tesla replaced the traditional steering wheel with the yoke, removed physical controls, and shifted more functions into touch-sensitive menus. Some owners adjusted quickly, others never liked the daily usability. The bigger issue was consistency. Early refresh cars showed more variation in build quality, software behavior, and cabin refinement compared to later production runs. Tesla improved the platform over time, but early owners became part of that adjustment period. The Plaid is incredibly fast and technically impressive, but long-term ownership becomes harder when experimental controls and constant software changes arrive together in one luxury electric vehicle. And the next Tesla shows what happens when complexity itself becomes the real reliability problem. Worst number 1. 2016 Model X. Avoid the 2016 Model X if you plan to keep your Tesla long after warranty coverage ends. This was the vehicle that showed how quickly complexity can turn into long-term ownership stress, even when the technology feels far ahead of everything else on the road. Start with the Falcon Wing doors. They look impressive, but they rely on multiple sensors, motors, wiring systems, and calibration points working together perfectly every day. When even one part falls out of alignment, the doors can become slow or unpredictable. The early Model X also carried several aging Tesla hardware problems at once, including first-generation media control unit memory wear, suspension issues, and expensive electronic repairs. Add the vehicle's heavy weight, large windshield, and complicated door mechanisms, and ownership costs begin stacking faster than many buyers expect. Here is the bigger issue. Luxury electric vehicles usually age best when engineering stays simple and refined. The 2016 Model X went in the opposite direction, by packing too much experimental hardware into one platform before the systems fully matured. But once Tesla refined and simplified some of that engineering later on, the ownership experience quietly became far more reliable. Subscribe if you want to know which Teslas truly hold up long-term. Best number 4. 2022 Model 3 Rear-Wheel Drive. Buy the 2022 Model 3 rear-wheel drive if you want one of the simplest Teslas to own long-term. This was the point where Tesla quietly refined the platform without adding unnecessary complexity, and that balance matters much more after several years of ownership. Start with the battery. The rear-wheel drive version switched to lithium iron phosphate chemistry, which tolerates daily 100% charging far better than older battery setups. That gives owners more flexibility and removes a lot of the charging anxiety many early electric vehicle buyers dealt with. Tesla also upgraded the car with the advanced micro devices, AMD Ryzen processor, and a lithium 12-volt battery system. Those changes improved overall responsiveness while reducing several smaller reliability complaints that earlier Model 3 owners commonly experienced. Long-term battery health has also been stronger than many people expected. Tesla battery data reviewed by Not a Tesla app showed average degradation remaining surprisingly low even after very high mileage use. That combination of stable hardware, efficient charging behavior, and lower complexity quietly makes this one of the smartest used Tesla purchases available today. And the next Tesla became one of the safest long-term choices for families. Best number 3, 2023 Model Y. Choose the 2023 Model Y if you want one of the safest long-term Tesla purchases right now. By this point, Tesla had several years to refine the platform, and the difference showed up in daily ownership. Build quality became more consistent, cabin noise improved, and suspension tuning felt smoother compared to earlier production years. The hardware also matured nicely. The Ryzen processor, improved thermal management system, refined software behavior, and lithium 12-volt architecture helped reduce many of the smaller frustrations earlier owners complained about. That matters because mature platforms usually age better than first-generation designs. By 2023, Tesla had already worked through most of the early production issues, making the Model Y feel far more stable and predictable long-term. It also remained highly practical, with strong cargo space, charging efficiency, and everyday usability. And the next Tesla proves that sometimes the best long-term luxury electric vehicle is the one built right before a major redesign. Best number 2, 2020 Model S, Long Range Plus. Buy the 2020 Model S Long Range Plus if you want a luxury Tesla that feels refined without the risk of Tesla's later experimental redesign phase. This model sits in one of the best long-term ownership sweet spots Tesla has produced. By this point, suspension tuning felt smoother, highway efficiency improved, and software behavior became far more stable than earlier Model S years. Tesla also refined the front motor design, helping the car deliver impressive real-world range during long trips. What makes this version special is its balance. It still keeps the traditional steering wheel, physical stock controls, and familiar interior layout many owners prefer daily. The platform also avoided much of the instability that arrived during the later refresh period. Instead of pushing aggressive hardware experiments, Tesla focused on refinement and efficiency improvements that quietly made the car easier to live with long-term. And the number 1 Tesla on this list finally shows what happens when Tesla fully matures its most important platform. Best number 1, 2024 Model 3 Highland. Choose the 2024 Model 3 Highland if you want the most refined mainstream Tesla the company has built so far. This is the first Model 3 that genuinely feels engineered for long-term ownership stability instead of constant experimentation. The improvements are easy to notice. Cabin noise is lower, suspension tuning feels smoother, and overall ride quality feels more controlled during daily driving. Tesla also redesigned several suspension and underbody components, helping the car feel more stable without hurting efficiency. That matters more than people realize. A quieter cabin, refined ride quality, and stable software behavior become increasingly important after years of ownership because those are the things drivers experience every day. Build consistency also improved significantly, especially on Tesla's more mature production lines. Earlier Model 3 years often felt like rapidly evolving products. The Highland feels far more settled and complete. If you plan to keep a Tesla for many years, this is the closest the company has come to a fully matured everyday electric vehicle. Final thought: buy mature Tesla platforms, not just exciting specifications. Long-term ownership usually rewards stability far more than aggressive redesigns or experimental features. That is why production year matters so much with these cars. A well-refined Tesla can stay efficient, comfortable, and surprisingly low maintenance for years, while the wrong hardware generation slowly becomes expensive once warranty coverage ends. That does not mean older Teslas are automatically bad, or newer ones are automatically perfect. The real difference is how stable the platform was when Tesla built it. Subscribe if you prefer practical Tesla ownership advice without the hype, because some of the biggest Tesla myths still convince owners to damage their cars without realizing it.